Hello and welcome to Angular 2 Masterclass with Alejandro Rangel. In this section, I'm going to give an introduction of Angular 2 and what are the nice features that the Angular team is offering to us in the second version of this great framework. So, Angular 2, it focuses in three parts. First, it's about the framework. They want to have a boilerplate structure for you so you can create easily Angular components, directives, services, and so on. And also that you need less and less metadata from Angular in general, and you can focus more on writing classes from ES6 or with TypeScript. It's about the structure. In Angular 2, there is more structure, and also it's about testing. They want to provide easy ways to test our code. So they remove, for example, the scope from Angular 1, and now it should be easier to mock our data and to test with frameworks like Jasmine and Karma. Also, Angular 2 is about the ecosystem. So there are many partners that are joining to the adventure of Angular 2, like it's the case of Ionic or Sencha. It's about writing widgets, so we can reuse this in our code. And they are going toward a platform where the performance matters. So nowadays, we want fast applications that render almost instantly in the browser. It's about simplicity, because what's the point of writing super complex applications that we can't maintain later on? And also, it's about tooling. So we need better tools to write our code efficiently with refactoring, and that we can track everything that we are doing. So this is where the Angular team is focused right now. They publish all these ideas in several conferences in 2015. So I invite you to see the Angular conference 2015, Angular Europe. So in these videos, they provide a lot of documentation. This is a resume from all this, so this should save time from watching hours and hours of video. But basically, they talk about all this stuff about the framework, the ecosystem, and the platform. So far, Angular 1 has 1.1 million developers. This is increasing every day, and if you are a front-end developer specialized in JavaScript, probably you have seen how the offers of Angular jobs has increased incrementally or exponentially in the last years. So if you are in the heap, you will see that there are insane number of offers, like in London, in California, Berlin, and many other places, probably in your city, looking for Angular developers. So in the Angular conference, the team from Google provide an insight of how many visitors they have in 30 days. In both platforms, in the website for Angular 1, that is angularjs.org, and angular.io, that it's the official website for Angular 2. As you can see, the traffic is mainly focused on Angular 1, but even if the application right now it's in early stages, currently in beta, the 7% of traffic is going to Angular 2. So we can see that this will increase rapidly in the next month, and probably for the next year from this video. They will be even, if not more requests for Angular 2 website. Angular team right now is working in both frameworks. When I say both framework, I'm talking about Angular 1 and Angular 2. I would like to mention that even if they share the name Angular, both are pretty different in the style of coding and in the way that you see the, let's say, the structure. Yeah. So the Angular 2 is definitely not an upgrade or a new version with new features, but same style of Angular 1. You can see it as a totally new framework. So if you are a new developer of Angular 2, you don't need to learn Angular 1 in order to learn Angular 2. And it's true that there are certain concepts that are inherited from Angular 1, but we will talk about Angular 2 as if you don't have any clue about Angular 1. And for those that come from Angular 1, I will give also hints about what is changing or what do you have to think in terms of switching from one platform to the other one. So what I want to say in this slide is the Angular team right now is focusing on developing code for both, for Angular 2 and for Angular 1. This is true, for example, in the case of the component router. In the router, they are updating the router in the version 1 to make it more flexible and nice to work, for example, with nested views, parallel views, and modal views. But this is going to be even more powerful in Angular 2. Also, the team it's working on providing easiest way for working with internationalization and localization. As we want to translate websites on the fly, for example, if these are clicking Spanish version or English version, they are focusing on providing ways to do the translations with a higher speed and in a nice way that integrate the framework Angular with the translators that probably are non-IT people. There is another part that the Angular team is focused on and is working on animations on the ng animate library. It's surprising that in Angular 1 there are super nice animations, but they want to take this further in Angular 2 with animations done via JavaScript. In the last years, we have listed how, CSS animations are cool, are fast, are native and great, but when we want to do complex animations with frames and different stuff going around, we need something more powerful, and that's what they are trying to achieve with animations done with JavaScript. Hopefully we will see something related with this in a near future, but currently they mentioned in videos from Angular conference in 2015 that they are actively working on this and in early stages still to provide an API for this. So if you go to the Angular 2 website, you won't see anything elaborate at this stage about ng animate. Once they release this, I will try to make videos explaining what is the purpose of this. So Angular 2 is focused on performance, simplicity, and tooling. This is the last part of the 3 steps of Angular 2. So Angular is about the speed. Angular 1 was nice. We have been coding Angular 1 for a long time. I have been working with Angular since the beginning, and I have seen how they have been improving the code with Angular 1.3.4 and so on. But it's true that we need something faster. Okay, our users, the web users, are expecting that the interface every day are responsive. We don't have any lag. We don't have to wait for animations and so on. So Angular 2 is focused on speed. They have been focusing in 4 areas: in the loading speed, in the compiling, render, and re-render. So let's see in detail what's that. The performance in the load phase, they are going to give us a new option for coding with Angular, that is the project Angular Universal. And the idea behind Angular Universal is that we can code Angular in the backend, and then we just return HTML and CSS as normal web applications. This is great for search engine optimization and also for loading speed, because if you send everything already rendered to the user, basically the front end is a dummy box. This was not possible with Angular 1 because the Angular 1 is tied to the DOM object and to the browser. But now with Angular 2 it's possible, and they are working heavily in this project Angular Universal. So let's take a look. This is the official website. This is Angular 2 official website. Probably if you bought this masterclass you have in this website. But this is Angular Universal. Okay. They explain. I definitely recommend the video of him. This video is funny and it's great, the explanation. Also this one too, they explain what's the purpose of the Angular 2 server rendering, and I hope to see the result of their test and their code soon enough. So this is still in early stage, but definitely we are waiting for this for coming and release to the market soon. So this is in the improvements in the performance and the loading phase. What about the compiling phase? In Angular 1, normally we have compile, the templates, render, compile, render, compile, render. So this process takes as many times as user interactions and so on. In Angular 2, the idea is that we compile once at the beginning, and then we just have to focus on render, render, render all the time. This will increase the speed in a lot of magnitudes. Yeah. And also they said in the previous conference that they want to do the compiling phase in the build phase. So that's even better and faster. The performance in the render phase, it's about not using the dirty check of Angular 1 anymore. They have figured out a way to do ultra fast change detection as they define it, more efficient, and from now on, we will be using a library named RxJS to observe and react to changes. There is a dedicated chapter in this masterclass about reactive programming, and definitely this is a topic that you should take a look, because we will be talking about this many times in Angular 2. Finally, Angular also will focus on the performance of the re-render phase. So every time that you have to re-render something, they will put a cache mechanism. So if you render something, the next time you can use it from the cache if not changes are detected. They are talking also about virtual scroll to make this faster, repeaters, routers, and again, memory efficient. So if we want to summarize this, in the loading phase, they're providing Angular Universal. This is for instant rendering. So we send the information already rendered to the user from the server. We have a compile phase. They want to make it even faster, and also that works offline. So in the build phase, then we have a render with ultra fast change detection. We can see here the numbers of how is the speed improvement compared with Angular 1. And finally, the re-render phase, they will use cache mechanism with a view of pools for even render faster. So as you can see, Angular is about speed, Angular 2. One more thing about the speed. Also, they mentioned that Angular 2 will be compatible with web workers. That's really interesting because right now everything in Angular 1 and let's say that with the demos of Angular 2 runs in the main thread of the browser. But as we know, with HTML5 we have web workers, so we can run code, JavaScript code in a parallel thread to increase the speed. Then I guess that it comes to your manual. Threads in the front end. Wow, that's super complex. Yes, it is, and it will still be like this, because working with multiple threads is always difficult. But Angular 2 team, it's trying to make it super simple for you. And Angular 2 will have the option, the capability to run in a different thread, and only when you have to access to the UI, to what you are rendering, then you need the main thread. This is kind of an inherited concept from iOS and from Android, where if you have to modify something from the user interface, you do it in the main thread, but then you have blocks and scopes to work on background for other kind of tasks. Web workers with Angular 2 is going to be great for video and audio processing, especially for mobile, so we can freeze the main thread, to release the main thread, and then the user can interact with the application without any lag and super responsive. And also this will help for testing with Node.js. See you in the next part of the introduction of Angular 1.